morning, everybody. It is bright and early. I think it's like 8:45. It's like way early in the morning. So this video, I had plans on making an S10 video today, or finishing an S10 video today, but I wanted to bring my fellow BMW drivers a little bit of a warning. Maybe you know this already, maybe you don't know this already, but these BMWs are susceptible, yeah, that's the right way of saying it, I think, to moisture in the air. And especially if you leave, let's say you leave your windows down at night by accident, and then you wake up in the morning and you come in here, you start it up, and all of a sudden you have an error warning, and you're like, well, what the hell? And a lot of times people don't put together the fact that they just left the windows down. Now for me, my situation, I left my windows down one day and my transfer case control module started giving me errors. All right, so y'all remember I was talking about those lights? Well, I got it to pull it back up. So these lights right here, from my understanding, it is due to my transfer case, or either the transfer case or the transfer case control module. Now my transfer case control module is underneath that seat right there, and one thing I've learned with these BMWs is that they don't tend to have any dielectric grease or anything up inside the connectors. A lot of times, a lot of these people, they put it together with a watertight connection, but then they also have that grease on the inside. And this one, all the connections have not had any of that grease. So I'm gonna go grab some dielectric grease, and I'm gonna add it to a couple little spots. I have one little spot that I'm constantly getting an error for. It's not up right now, but it's for my headlight. And it's the basic same concept, is that the dielectric grease isn't there, and yeah, it's causing connection issues and whatnot. So if you are a BMW owner, or just own a vehicle in general, there's, especially for BMW owners, one thing that's going to be your best friend is a little bit of dielectric grease. Now I'm going to show you why this is going to be one of your best friends, especially on a post LCI. Oh, I caught it though. Look at that, I caught it. So yeah, especially on a post LCI with the LED right here, because some people, what you'll get is you'll get this message right here. Let me show it to you. I gotta crank her up. First I gotta put the key in her. Alright, so ignore the low tire. I have checked that right there. That error right there is the one I'm talking about. That little light right there. And I get that because whenever you try to do the turn signal, see it goes fast, and I get that error. So I'm gonna show you what I have learned about BMWs and how I'm gonna fix that real quick. So alright, so when doing this, what you're gonna want to have is you're gonna want to have some dielectric grease. But before you put that dielectric grease in there, because what this does is prevent corrosion and stuff like that, you're going to have some of this too, some contact cleaner. Now this evaporates without any residue, it cleans anything off. This is just to go ahead and prep it for having that put in there. So let me go ahead and pop that connector off and show you what I mean. So if you're working on a BMW, to get this connector off, what you're basically going to do is just see how they move right there. Basically just going to squeeze these as you're removing it, and then it just comes right on off. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set you up real quick. There we go. And so I'm going to spray this off with some make sure you're going to get the right hand here. So basically you're preparing it, and it's gonna evaporate off on the inside, so I'm not too worried about that. So now that that's a nice prepped surface, we'll take this right here, and we're gonna press it right up against it, because we want to get it up in there, and just kind of force it down onto the spots and then squirt it in. That way you're getting it, you're not having to use your finger to push it in there, you know. You're letting the pressure from the tube kind of just force it in there, because I mean, once you go sticking it back up on here, it's gonna do that too. So then you just go and try not to touch anything when you're doing it, and then just pop it right back in, and boom, there you go. Now if you want to take your headlights off and use that cleaner and get the actual contacts on the headlight itself, because I'm sure if there's corrosion on the plug, there's corrosion on the plug on the connection right there. Now if the issue gets worse with mine, then there's a chance that I may go ahead and pop the headlight off and check that, because all it is a connection to the LEDs, and the reason why it's having an issue is because there's corrosion on the pins and it's not getting the voltage that it needs to supply them. So now, I mean, BMW says that they can fix it, and what they do is they replace the entire headlight, but the headlights are very expensive. And now let's go and crank her back up and see what we got, see if it fixed the issue. Hopefully it did. So as you can see, it has slowed down, and yeah, looks to be good now. So it's just something you can do. It works for me. Now the reason why I say, you know, it's your best friend is because I think every connection on the BMW doesn't have any of that on there. And it, like I left my windows down, and that transfer case controller messed up. Well, that's not the only time. One time I left my sunroof partially cracked. I got a little water in, and it actually somehow it killed my battery. And then yeah, I had to get a whole new battery the next day. And yeah, it's you got to watch out for things like that, especially with BMWs. Mainly BMWs though, because I've left my windows down on my Chevys before and I never had that issue. It's only this BMW that I've ever had this issue with. So like I said, if you have a BMW, make sure you roll up your windows, because it can be costly, but I have learned that it will fix itself though. The transfer case control module, I did not touch. I did not replace it. It's underneath that seat on my model, my urine model. It's underneath that seat, underneath the carpet, and that seemed like a lot of work, and luckily it just stopped popping up again. I guess it finally got rid of all that moisture that was in the connector, and yeah, that's the only thing I could think. So my recommendation is just always make sure your windows are up. And if you happen to have your windows down and you experience some sort of fault immediately after, know that there's a good chance that it may heal itself. So just keep that in mind. But then again, you may have to spend the money and replace a control module, or you know, your battery or something of that nature. So just keep that in mind. Just a little warning to you people. BMWs are expensive to repair. I think that control module was like 860 bucks to replace if I was gonna have to do it new, and then it's gonna have to get programmed. So yeah, I would highly recommend that you do not leave your windows down. I know I've said it a few times, but it's something that you just need to make sure that you don't do. So see you later, and hope this helps you out. Hopefully you didn't have to have it, you know, but hey, life